Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. And in just a few minutes, as always, on Wednesdays evenings, we're going to have Rich Levinsky with us talking about consultants in the workplace. And he always has some interesting observations about what's going on in the consulting world from in the trenches. He has a very interesting topic this evening, so you'll definitely want to pay attention to it and listen to it. Lately, we've begun every evening with a few seconds of being grateful. You can't be unhappy when you're grateful. Just being grateful. So stop a minute and think of 3 or 4 things to be grateful for. Go. You got to be grateful. Wanted to bring up something that is a very sensitive thing that happens a lot that most people don't want to talk about. And unless you're in the placement and recruitment business, you don't realize it. And that's that people lie. Now, it's going to come across as a little cold, but people don't intentionally lie, but they just tell you what they think at the moment. What caused me to think of this was that the other day I had a candidate, last Friday, I had a candidate that I called and I said, I've got another interview for you, and I've got a good opportunity that you ought to go talk to. And he didn't want to go. He said, no, I've got a company that I've been talking to for 3 weeks, and they said they're going to offer me a job on Monday, maybe Tuesday. And it's now Wednesday. And they've been courting me and talking to me, and they're going to offer me a job. And I'm so tired of looking for a job. I don't want to go. I don't want to go on any more interviews. I'm going to take this job. They're going to offer it to me. I said, look, you can never bank on anything. You can never have too many good opportunities. You need to go on the interview. You never know what's going to happen. I reminded him of the candidate that I had years ago that got hired by a company that interviewed him 7 years earlier and ended up hiring him. You got to go on the interview. You really need to go on the interview because it's a good one. And you can tell them you're close to an offer, because I'll tell them you're close to an offer, but you can never have too many good opportunities. He said, no, I'm sick of interviewing. I'm get this offer. I'm got it. They told it to me. We've gone over everything. I'm sick of interviewing. I'm going to get the offer. And guess what? He didn't get the offer. The company changed hands over the weekend, and he didn't get the offer. He was upset, of course. He said, of course, they knew that they were going to be sold and that they were going to not be able to offer me the job. And they lied to me, and they cheated, and they did this and they did that. And they're all mad, and he's all mad at them. And they knew they lied and cheated, and they're awful people. And boy, they sure went from being a wonderful opportunity to an awful demonic group of people awfully fast. Well, they told him what they thought at the time. They thought they were going to offer him a job. The guy that was going to offer him a job didn't know they were being sold. He didn't. Just stuff happens. It happens all the time. He thought he was being lied to. He wasn't being lied to. He was being told what they thought was at the moment. This happens all the time. I bet at least 35 or 40% of the time, somewhere in the hiring process, somebody, either a candidate or an employer, reveals things change. 9/11s happen. Things happen. Economies change. Companies get sold. Companies get bought. Things happen. It's nobody's fault. You just got to be prepared for them. Now, fortunately, I was able to call and get the interview that I had for him rearranged for tomorrow, and he's thankful to have it. He's being very gracious about it, and he should be. But never, ever, ever bank on anything. Just because a company says, I'm going to hire you, doesn't mean they're going to hire you. It means that they intend to, and maybe they will. I've had candidates show up for the first day of their job and find out that the guy they were going to work for is no longer there. The company was sold. The company doesn't exist anymore. The job doesn't exist anymore. Terrible things. I know you never read about this stuff. Nobody ever talks about it. They don't want to. People like to think that companies and businesses pristine, bastions of wonderful economics and wonderful business acumen, and it's not true. They're spiritual beings acting human. And yes, they lie. They don't intentionally lie, but they lie. So you can never bank on anything. Don't believe it until you see it. Assume that things are not necessarily going to work out. Hope that they will. Be a reasonable optimist. Make no assumptions about anything. Have no expectations. That's the first rule of recruiting. The first rule of recruiting is have no expectations about anything. If somebody says they're going to hire you, say, that's great, that's wonderful, that's fine. I'd love to go to work here. And then wait and see if you get the offer, wait and see if you get to show up, and wait and see if you get to last 50 years like I've been here. 50 years is pretty good. No expectations, but it's lasted 50 years. No expectations, and don't believe anything until you see it. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashir with the Job Search Solution.